my testimony. This is the testimony. The testimony.
One thing I made sure. Ah, cool. All right. I apologize. I think we actually got people in here. Yeah. Okay. So I know we're live. I know it's working. My apologies, guys. My name is Alex. Welcome to the Testimony Podcast. This is episode 13. Before we get started, I got to give a big shout out to Trebles Garcia at the Trebles Show. I think I've given this shout out 4 times already. But shout out to Trebles. So he's going through a tough time right now. He's actually transitioning his show. It is formerly known as Paranoid Radio. He's now known as the Trebles Show. Y'all go follow him on all platforms. But I got to give him a shout out because he stepped out of his comfort zone. He's doing something that it seemed like a dream at first. And he's actually, even in one of the most trying times he's going through, he's still managing to put out a book. He is now a published author. He put out his first book called Liminal Trees. Go check that out. It's scripturally accurate. It's a different viewpoint as to the way the world works, how everything ties in together. And I can't explain it with it making any sense without you reading the book. You have to follow his channel, subscribe, follow to the Treble Show on all platforms. But get the book. I read it this past week. Blew my mind. It opened my eyes to something that I never even thought about looking at. So how we're all connected in a sense, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or just physically, we are all tied together through what he calls as the liminal tree. So check that book out. Shout out to Trebles. Shout out to Hanky P with Soldiers of Christ Arise. We have yet to get him on here. I know he's a busy man. I'm a busy man too, but he's preaching sermons now. And for the people tuning in, he is a Church of Christ pastor. And I actually love that because me and him could kind of get an understanding of both sides as to what we do. I'm Church of God. People call it Pentecostal, but there's different versions of what that word even means. But in a sense, Church of Christ has a different viewpoint on some things than Church of God or different denominations. But we're still a family. So it's better to grow. You can't know if you don't ask, in a sense, but you won't know if you don't know. So you have to ask. You got to find out the question. So if I'm confused about something, I ask him. If he's confused about something, he asks me. If we're both confused about something, we do more research. But as Trebles Garcia always says, you have to look it up. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what the next person says. If you don't look it up for yourself, it means absolutely nothing. So going to church, listening to your pastor, and not studying the word behind that, it doesn't do a whole lot of good because the Bible says not to trust man. Now, in the same sense, I trust my pastor with my whole heart. But again, I've been handed the word so many times. If I don't pick it up on my own, then who am I really benefiting? Because I'm trusting the word of another man. And I trust that my pastor is 100% truthful. But I can't get convicted by anything that I don't study. So I have to study the word. I got to do these little things. You have to ingrain yourself in Christ if you want to follow Christ. You're learning, you're rebuilding every day. The next day could be worse than the last day. But you always got to know that you have what would I say it? A friend next to you always. I guess that's what I'd call Jesus. It's my buddy. It's my therapist. Just like I say on the past episodes, like I do the cashier and the anybody that's at a register. When I walk up and you don't have a line behind me, I'm going to hold you up and you're going to be my therapist for the next 10 minutes. But you have to have yourself grounded spiritually and scripturally. You got to study. I can't study for you. You have to pick up the word and study it for yourself. But this week we have an amazing testimony. And again, partially why I say study the thing is we have somebody who's telling the testimony. It's her testimony, but it's also somebody else's testimony as well. And it's somebody who's not here. But the reason why I say you got to study scripture, and this is where me and Hanky P, we kind of differ on things. So it's like the Church of Christ believes you have to be baptized to be saved. But scripture says you're saved by faith, not works. So that's where we differ. But in the same sense as, I don't want to give too much of the testimony away, but the person she's going to be speaking about as well was saved that morning, was in an absolute tragic accident that night. And I full-fledged believe where his heart at, when God put his hand out, he followed the path, and I do wholeheartedly believe this man is in heaven. And you have to hear the story to understand what I mean. But y'all have heard testimonies from all across the board. Next month, I think we're filming with downtown TJ Brown. So if you're just now tuning in, we've been lucky enough to, I don't want to say lucky, I want to say blessed. We've had the opportunity to film a lot of amazing people, but we have people now reaching out to be filmed, and I'm trying to put together the time and the money to come do all these things. But it's a blessing so far. So we've got UFC fighters, we've got rappers, we've got ringside announcers from Thailand that's wanting to come back on. We have, I don't even know what you'd call them, but we have a guy coming from the End Days militia. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go to him to film what he's got going on. But for y'all that haven't seen the past episodes, he believes God has talked to him and spoke to him and told him that he will be a part of the End Days battle. So whenever the time comes and the rapture happens, he is going to be the one that's the forefront of the battle. So that's why it's okay for him to run a militia. And he calls it a militia, but it's because that he's strictly gearing up for the End Days battle. He's not doing a revolution. When it comes time for the End Days to happen, he feels like God has placed him in that position to lead the way. So, wild testimony. But again, he believes God spoke to him. So I love to hear these stories, and it's wild. He was raised in a cult. Crazy story. So you got to tune into the future episodes. Be on the lookout. I'm trying to post more on the Facebook, but y'all got to tune into the Instagram. That's where we're mainly at. That's the one platform that's kind of blowing up, that and Apple Podcasts, but I only see comments on there, so I don't really see anything other than that. But it's pretty neat. So this week's episode is somebody who is near and dear to me. I say that a lot, but this is somebody who's around me at least once a week, every single week, and at most 3-4 times a week. But she's a part of the church that we go to. She's I want to say a member of our family now as well, because I call our future present-ish co-host, Matt, is going to be on here one day again. But it's his lovely sister, and that's why I say we're family, because Matt's my brother. But she's the one that I can kind of tell. It's kind of like my older sister. She holds it all together. I would say their mom, I'm gonna call her Kelly since she might be listening to this. Since their mom Kelly is their, I want to say rock, but I'm not really sure how it goes in their family. So that's why I want y'all to hear Jessica's side of it, because I only got to see the outside. I've heard the testimony. I've heard a little bit of the stories, but I've never got to hear her life story. And I feel like it can impact a lot of people, not just from hearing about Justin's story, but from the way that she, as a person who had to experience all this and able to carry this and to still go to recovery, to still want to go to recovery programs, not because she's fully recovered, even if she is, she's still trying to make the steps every single day. So I know they say one day at a time, and it means that a lot more when there's something going on like this, because it takes one day at a time. But for y'all, if you don't mind, go ahead and move the camera. I know it's a little different, guys. I'm trying to do the live testimonies because we have a lot of people that are wanting to tune into the lives, and cock it that way a little bit. And a little bit more. There we go. So now y'all can see my lovely guest. And when I say her last name, please hear me out. I thought the same thing. It sounds like it's a rapper name or It's her alias, but this is her legit last name, and it's pretty neat. But if y'all don't mind, welcome my lovely guest, Miss Jessica Moneymaker. Hand clap noises. I'll get a soundboard eventually, guys, but a Rodecaster's like $900, and I'm not willing to break that just yet. I'll spend all the money I can on promoting and donating shirts and donating to people, but I've got enough equipment to post episodes right now, so we're good. But well, we do have one soundboard before we get started. I just don't want to do it in the camera or the mic yet. But we have a rubber chicken. Oh no, we have a rubber chicken, so we do have at least one sound. But that's for the conspiracy podcast. So I've got to tune into those and check out what goes on in there. When y'all hear me say that, you might hear me say that quite a bit. And if I do a guest appearance that's on a conspiracy podcast, I do that because I believe we can plant a seed in absolutely every location. So I'm not going to hide my face and not show up on a podcast just because it offends people. I'm not worried about other people's judgment. It means nothing because at the end of the days, the only person that's going to judge me is God. So if I get on a conspiracy podcast and I can plant that one seed that might change somebody's life and just maybe they might study the word or just anything like that, I'm going to do it. So I hope y'all understand. If y'all see me on a conspiracy podcast, please tune in. But I can't promise you that these people are going to be, I don't want to say nice, but appropriate for my church friends. These guys are kind of off the rails sometimes, but I don't mind it. I still get to plant that seed. But our lovely guest, Miss Jessica Moneymaker, and I know we usually do first-person testimonies, but the studio is still getting worked on. So you get to do a legit podcast testimony to where I've seen the other people do it, and I apologize for anybody tuning in and feel like I'm stepping into your shine. But I don't mind it because we still got to get these episodes out because these stories can change a life. But if you don't mind, Miss Jessica, let me get the layout pulled back up because I don't want to go off too much because I ramble. Y'all know I ramble. Lord, I ramble. So we're going to stay on topic. But big shout out. Oh, if you're tuning in now and you haven't liked, subscribed, or followed the page, please follow all the pages. Instagram, TikTok, go to the link tree. It'll show everything. Rumble, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio. If you're on the Instagram and you see a controversial clip, I apologize. I've got to grow the platform. If you're on TikTok and you see a controversial clip, I apologize. I've got to grow the platform. Shares and likes make a big difference. But if people don't see the episodes, if people don't see the clips, if people don't tune in, then these episodes can't change a life. So I've got to promote stuff. So if I have content that I got to post, I've got to post it. So I apologize, but don't blame me for something that somebody else says. So if Bryce says something about killing commies, I didn't say that. I was just there when he said it. And I apologize, but I can't hold these people back. So like even when Jessica's talking, I know it's on a live. If she says something that gets flagged, I apologize. But if she gets descriptive about what actually happened, you know, it's free will. I want people to see this and feel the emotion of it. And it's a sad story. So like I'm glad we get to do it this way because I feel like it's gonna hold back the emotion than us doing like the subtle and a really, I don't want to say somber environment, but to where it makes it more emotional. We could actually do it to where we're talking and having a conversation.
Right.
Help the people. But if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Jessica Moneymaker. I've got 4 kids. I work at a steel mill. That's really about all I do a 10-day recovery program. And I originally started going to this recovery program because my husband was an addict. And that kind of evolved into going for my grief from my husband's passing.
So that's kind of how we met Jessica. Now we go to the same church. They started coming to the recovery program. I knew Matt from way back before all this. We went to the same church back when me and my wife were still boyfriend and girlfriend. I know it seems like ages ago. I'm still young though, so. But hearing stories like hers and having people come in, her story started. Actually, this all happened after they came into the recovery program. Mm-hmm. So their story started way before the accident. But she was with Justin along the route of this. But I got to let the people hear about you first. So tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was childhood like for Jessica?
Childhood for Jessica. I grew up in a broken home. My mom and dad got a divorce whenever I was about 9. My dad was abusive. He was also used drugs. And I was probably 9 or 10 whenever we moved to Arkansas. I'm not originally from Arkansas. We're from Illinois. And we moved down here. I thought we were going to wear bonnets and not wear shoes whenever we moved to Arkansas. I swear, I was like, I do not want to live there.
We are Amish.
I thought, but my mom had 5 kids. She was raising us by herself, and her best friend stepped in to kind of help us. The deal was she was just supposed to help us for a short period of time. Well, here we are like 20 years later, and she's still, part of our family. So, moved to Arkansas, actually moved to Jonesboro, and then we moved to Blytheville whenever I was probably in 9th grade. And that was, and I didn't want to move here because Jonesboro had everything, but honestly, it's been a blessing moving here. Childhood for us, we grew up in the trailer park, we were at grandma's for the summer, and every summer, and we just kind of all hung out together, all of me and all my siblings, because that's all we really had with each other. We just had each other and that was it. So, when we moved here and my sister got older, it just kind of felt like everybody was moving apart, but really, I'm still really close with all of my siblings.
I didn't think about that. I've seen a few of the brothers and sisters here and there, but I guess Matt took after your mom because 5 kids. He's got what, 6 now? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he does.
And you can't say much.
I've got 4.
4. Okay, yeah. So y'all are packing grandkids.
I know.
Sure.
I had the most kids for the longest, and then Dakota just 1-upped me, 2-upped me, really.
If she could, she'd probably have 15 more.
Oh, Lord.
But now that we've talked a little bit about who you were as a kid, and kind of how did you? Well, before we talk about how y'all met, tell us who Justin was.
Justin was literally the funniest person I've ever met in my entire life. He's from Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, which is
That's where my dad was from.
Really? That's weird. It's a kind of a sketchy place, honestly. But he went to the Army. He got out and moved back home. And then he was in boys' homes his whole life pretty much. He got sent off to like places like the Lord's Ranch and things like that. And they're terrible. He wasn't home a lot as a child. He was in facilities because they thought he was bad. And I think it was just like a mental thing. And then, he's got an older brother who is doing really well in life. His mom just recently passed away, but she had her own issues. Broken people were raising children who they raised a broken child at that point, generational, curses basically passed its way down. Now Jake is doing really well for himself, but Justin didn't get the same opportunities, I don't think, but he was a mobile diesel mechanic, would work to the bone. My son used to go to work with him all the time. That was their thing. I've watched my 16-year-old tear down a 3406 Cat engine and put it back together like it's nothing because of things that Justin has taught him. It's wild. The stuff, Justin almost was like an autistic savant whenever it came to trucks because he could hear a truck, wouldn't see it. He could hear it. He could tell you what kind of engine's in it. He could tell you what kind of Jake's in it. He could tell you everything about it.
It's like
weird.
Now I'm not making the joke in a mean way, but it's like autistics with trains. It's like
yes,
you see them and you automatically know that they are absolutely turned.
Yeah.
So it's weird to hear that. So you are talking about Ace, right? The one that
yes.
So that's the one that's pretty nuts. So as a kid for me, my dad was a diesel mechanic too, and I would help a little bit. Enough to where, now again, my dad was also an addict. So the whole time that he'd get a job, he'd stay sober for a few months and start making money and then fall down the same cycle. So when I was helping would be on the times where he was trying to maintain addiction, which that was never fun. Because when you have a parent that's coming down and also trying to work on a vehicle, take the coming down part off of it and just trying to work on a vehicle that's not working. And then now add the last part on it. And it didn't help. So it was not a fun time for me. So like, the one instance I remember of me actually getting to help and thinking I was helping until the end was my granddad was out there. He was mowing the yard. And he was trying to teach me how to back up a trailer. And, the smaller the trailer, the harder it is. I So I tried to back it up probably 10 times, and that didn't work. So he told me to get off. And then he was like, well, you can just go mow. So I can mow.
I can do that.
It's on a riding lawnmower. I think I was like 10. I could definitely mow, right? I get on there, make one beautiful pass, and come back around. My granddad's mad, or not. I say mad, but he's red in the face the whole time. He's like saying something. I can't hear him, so I'm thinking he's cheering me on because it's red in the face. And he's
nope.
So I'm like, yeah. I pull back up, and this whole time I didn't have the blades down, so I drove around this entire yard for no reason. And he told me to get off, and I didn't get back on the lawnmower then. So I push mowed until I was in college. So,
Oh gosh.
and it's stuff like that, working around your parents, like you do remember, like I remember a lot of the bad times, but I do remember the good times of getting to help my granddad, like work on the shed, or help my dad whenever they were building the shed and work on the house. Like I remember those times. And, so even, and it sucks, like when my dad not here, I still reminisce. So like even if I'm working on something, I still, I would much rather have my dad with me, but it's nice to know I still got him in heart.
Right.
Like it'd been a lot different had I kept that same viewpoint I had about my dad whenever he passed away until now. And, because up until he passed away, I just assumed it'd be an okay thing to do life without my dad.
Yeah.
And then it came time that he passed away, and I couldn't even tell my wife. I was on the phone with Kaylee trying to say that my dad died. I could not get the words out.
Yeah.
It's just, that's when it hit. Like,
Yep.
So if you're listening and you have a parent that's struggling sick, or even just dealing with addiction, troubles, if they're anxiety, anything, if you know that they're struggling and you just haven't told them, even if you tell them you love them, just tell them again, give them a hug a little bit tighter, just show them that you care, because you never know. When I say you never know, you literally never know when that last moment will be. And it's times like this. So before we get into the story, because I do got a question about it, because it still blows me away as, for one, how you're capable of talking about it. And I thank you for allowing us to be able to share this, because I know you're going to impact somebody. I mean, you already impacted so many people at the church and us and everything like that. But it's just a matter of like what you've experienced and how, I want to say you're able to cope with it, but you're able to still be so strong. Yeah. It's wild. I'm not just saying that, like, you'll hear in a minute. You'll understand what I'm saying. I am blown away. It hurts me to have to share stories like this, because it's sad that it happened. But it's a blessing, because there's so many people that are, I don't know if they're dealing with the exact same thing. I can't assume anybody's dealt with this exact same thing. But there are widows, there are spouses who are struggling, and there are people who have lost their family, and at the worst times.
Right.
And I can say this. So before we say any more about Justin, I can say that if anybody lost their life at the right time, I would absolutely say it was Justin. Yeah. And that's that's a sad reality to say, but I full-fledged believe this man's in heaven. I watched him go to the altar that morning. I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm so happy for him. Yeah. Like in a sense, the Bible talks about jealousy, but I'm jealous in a sense. Like I would love to know that when I passed away, I not just dedicated my life, but I'm living my life the way I'm supposed to live it, Christ-like. Yeah. Perfect until I pass away. Like, and that's the scariest part of like a lot of Christians nowadays. Like the old school churches where it's like if you don't repent now, you're gonna die, because the rapture could happen at any second. Right. And that, like, you have that fear of it. But the reality of it is, you never know when natural causes or life itself will take you away. Right. And that's why you have to live your life scripturally. You never know when. I don't want to say out of fear, but you literally never know when your life will end. Not because of the rapture, or not because of you getting sick, but anything can happen. And I mean that across the board. Anything can happen. Yep. But to get back into things, you've kind of mentioned about Justin, and when you came into the program, what was it like for you before the accident, coming in as a wife of an addict who's trying to help their husband? What was it like for you mentally and emotionally? Like, I know you were there for Justin, but what was it like on you?
Being the wife of an addict, honestly, is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Because
now, you weren't in like addiction during this?
No, I've never have. Okay. Never have. It is the hardest thing I've ever done to, number one, try to keep yourself in check, but also try to keep them in check and kind of mask their stuff, basically. Like, he's in a bad mood, so I have to explain to the kids, like, which really meant he was coming down and he didn't have any money to get drugs, and I wasn't going to give him money to get drugs. So I'd have to kind of, shift the attention away from him, and it honestly, it is so lonely, because nobody understands what you're going through. You can't just go to your friends and say, hey,
Man.
My husband's using, and I feel like a single parent. I'm struggling. I'm raising these kids. He's never home. He's blowing all of his money. You know, you can't just go to your friends and say that kind of stuff to them, especially if they don't understand that. I started going to recovery so I could understand better, and kind of understand where his mindset was on things, because to me it didn't make sense. But by God's grace, I've never been an addict. So it was more of trying to come from a loving place instead of, oh my gosh, he's on drugs, get away from me. You know what I mean? Like the stigma that people, you know, with my own parent that was on drugs, my mom got us out of there as fast as possible, you know, and it was one of those, like, that obviously is not going to work with him, you know. I have to figure out a different way to do this and do it more in a godly way to lead him to the water. Yep. You know what I mean? Lead him to the water. If I could just get him to the feet of Jesus, I can save him. I can get him clean, is what I thought. I was like, if I just get him back to Jesus, I got this. I can do that. So being married to an addict is literally harder than anything I've ever done. And I've done some pretty hard things. I've gotten out of abusive relationships. I've gotten, you know, lived in a homeless shelter because I had to get out of a relationship, you know, that I knew that he was going to kill me. But this was even harder than that because the drugs were so, you know, they had him. And it was sad watching him go from who he was, which is the funniest, happiest, bubbliest person I've ever met, to a shell of a person, you know.
Well, see, that's partly why I asked that too, is because I want people to understand. So, like, whenever they're dealing with the addiction, so Justin himself, I knew the bubbly, like, happy. When he'd come in, I don't know if he was shy at home, but he would seem kind of shy, and you know, it's expected when you come to a recovery program, because nobody knows how it is. Like, when you actually, I didn't know until we came into the recovery program we help at now, that recovery is across the board. You always hear recovery, you automatically assume addiction.
Yeah.
But, and even in the end, like, you came in, and even though it wasn't the assumption, you're coming in for the help of the addiction that was going on, but now you're in the process of going through the recovery program yourself because of what was, and so it's the way life works. I feel like everything was supposed to happen the way it was. Like, I can't say that, again, like the butterfly effect, anything can change the way the outcome of the day happens. And the way that happened, I believe whenever you do get called home, it's when God's trying to call you home. And the fact that he was willing to take that step before he got called home, that's why I say, like, you never know when God's trying to call you home. So, like, if somebody comes to you and is like, hey, man, you need a Bible, and maybe you got 10, but I look at it like, man, maybe I'm supposed to get this Bible and read something out of here because something's going to happen. I look at everything like it's going to happen for a reason.
Right.
And same thing for, like, this. I'm not saying all this happened for you to share your testimony and be able to share Justin's testimony and share it to other people that can help them. But I'm saying, like, stuff like this can carry forward. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to end whenever he passed away.
Absolutely.
And you know, it hurts to hear that. So, like, I knew Justin of the bubbly side, and I got to see him the day he went down to the altar, and to see that change. Yeah. The transition of, like, you get to see the happy, you can kind of see the shy side, but when somebody goes to the altar and you actually see not just the tears, I get it. Whenever you go to the altar, it's an emotional. You're giving your life back over, whether you're just laying it down at the feet. Right. And to see somebody that's always happy and smiling to break and actually show the emotion. That's what I love about men's small groups. You see these grown 40, 50-year-old men who are coming in, and they're I'm not saying they're just getting their squalling and breaking down, but even if they do, they're breaking down those barriers that they've held up for so long. Men's got to be strong. You can't cry. Yeah. But to see somebody like Justin, who, like, I've talked to here and there, but he's always making jokes. Like, it was always funny to be around him, and to see that, and to be, like, to break down and cry, and to know that what he's doing, he means. Like, there's not just it's not just a, you know how when they call your whole family to the altar and you kind of get, like, you feel like you're being drugged to the altar up there.
The funny part of this is, before we walked into church that morning, he said, I don't want to talk to nobody. Don't drag me down to that altar. We're sitting in the balcony. And I was like, okay. Hey, I had him in the church house. That's all I needed. And when I say that 6'4" long-legged man was dragging me to the altar that morning, I was like, I got little legs. I can't keep up. It was 100% a tug on him, and not me pushing, not me saying anything. he was like, all right, we got to go. And I hear he says, we got to go, but he's like rushing. And I'm like, we got to go home. Did you get a call or something? And he drags me to that altar, and I'm looking at him like, what are we doing? Okay, this is what we're doing. All right, all right. And for Justin to cry, Justin did not cry. For him to stand up there in front of a huge group of people at an altar and beg Abby to help him give his life back to Jesus was wild for me. I was like, hey, God, you're showing out now. Like, I asked for a little bit, you gave a lot.
Man.
Appreciate it.
Like, if you're listening to that and you hear what she's saying, so if you're listening to this and you're wondering, like, oh man, should I go to church this Sunday? I haven't been in a long time. Maybe this is your sign.
Yeah.
Justin felt the sign, heard it. I believe everything happens in a way that only we can understand. So, like, whether it was like me, I always say the fire that's burning in me that I can't put out. I don't know what's going on. Like, that's my tug. Like, when I feel like the old school way of, like, I want to run laps.
Yeah.
Like, that's that fire I'm talking about. For you to get that feeling, whether you're in your car riding home listening to church music, whether you're just sitting there reading the word and you have that feeling, if you don't step forward, it's like that's your time. That's God filling you with the Holy Spirit for you to make that effort, whether it's letting it all go at the feet of Jesus, or just taking the time to say, God, please forgive me for what I've done, or just, God, please give me guidance and understanding.
Yeah.
That's the one. And the one I heard the other day is, I don't know if it was Pastor Caleb saying it or if I heard it on one of the other podcasts, but it was somebody saying that we don't tell Jesus we love him enough. And you never really think about that because we pray all the time.
Right.
Pray all the time, and we always end it with amen, thank you, Jesus, thank you, God, thank you, thank you, thank you. But it's never I love you.
Right.
And that's the one that kind of stuck with me. So, like, that's what I seen was Justin actually, like, he had that love.
Yeah.
You can see a transformed man when they come away from the altar. There's a different look on their face, and it's always happy, but you can see that shift. And so I don't want to dive right into it yet. But
okay.
After y'all left, leaving before everything happened, what was the day like?
So let me back up a little bit before Easter Sunday. So that Friday we had a prayer service. Justin called me while I was at work, and he was like, hey, my phone is broke. Can you meet me at AT&T real quick? And I was like, absolutely. So I met him at AT&T. We had a prayer service that night, and he said, well, what are you doing tonight? I said, I have church tonight. And his eyes lit up. He said, can I go with you? I said, absolutely you can. So we get there. Matter of fact, Kaylee's there, and she sees Justin, and she lights up. She's like, he's here. I was like, I know. Shh, don't scare him. So he goes to the good old-fashioned prayer car wash, where the prayer line, Pentecostal prayer line. He goes through the prayer line, and he comes out, and we get in my truck, and he's like, I feel a burning in my chest. I feel different. And he was like, what does this mean? I said, honey, that's God.
What do I do with my hands?
What do I do with my hands? Literally. He was like, I don't know what this is. I was like, that's God, Justin.
What do I do with my eternity?
Yes. And so the next day, he was all bummed because I thought we had that church service on Friday, that we would not have church service Sunday morning. He called my mother panicking. He's like, Mom, are we having church on Sunday? Because Jessica told me we're not having church on Sunday. And my mom was like, yes, son, we're having church on Sunday. He's like, I will be there. And so Sunday morning, I get up. Mind you, because of his addiction at the time, we were not currently living in the same household. So he was a week clean at this point. He'd quit using. And we were FaceTiming, and we were singing I'm Going to Love You Forever. And we were FaceTiming, brushing our teeth, getting ready for church together. And we got to church that morning, and he was like, all right, I'm not going to the front. I don't have nobody talk to me. None of that. Like, I don't want everybody crowding me, because I know a lot of your friends that go to this church are excited that I'm here, but like, I don't want to talk about everything. Cool. All I had to do is get you through the doors. From here, God's got it.
Plant the seed.
God's got it, and that day, but whenever we left church, he was like, I have a birthday party I have to go to. And it was of people that I'm not really fond of.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you go do that. I'm going to do the Easter thing with the kids, and I'm going to cook dinner. And he was like, okay, well, I'll call you here in a little bit. Cool. So he went to this birthday party for like a 60-year-old man. not a young feller. And he called me that night, probably 6 or 7 o'clock, and he was like, "Hey, I'm still up here. I'm gonna go work." He got a call to work on a truck, a red Peterbilt, up in Missouri, and he was like, "I'm gonna go work on this truck. Is there any way you can bring me something to eat?" So I took him something to eat, told him that I loved him, and that I would talk to him here in a little bit. And then from there, all day he was like on cloud nine. He was like floating. He was like, "I just feel different. I feel good." He was like, I feel like I could go the rest of my life without touching drugs. And I was like, "Please keep that.
Man.
Please keep that feeling. Please keep that feeling." And he was like, "I have to have you in my life." And he knew that there was a strong boundary there. You can't have me and your drugs.
Yep.
Those love and drugs do not go hand in hand. Even though I would have literally traded my life for him to get clean and do I can't do that. I can't do those things. I can't save him. And I knew that. But a few weeks prior to this, I was at church and I was begging God. I'm like, "God, if he is not for me, let him go. I don't know what you need to do, God, but let him go." And just as clear as me and you are sitting here, God told me, "Not yet, hold on." And my family was like, "Jessica?" And I was like, God told me not yet. God told me, "Hold on. It's coming, Mom. He's going to get clean. It's coming, Nana. He's going to get clean." I'm telling my kids, it's coming. God told me it's coming. And I did not realize it would be in that sense. So whenever everybody's like, he's Jessica, he's out there right now. Like, you've got to, God told me not to. I kept telling my kids that. I was like, "God told me not yet. I got to hold on. Give me just a little while longer." So, and that's what I did. And he went to church that morning, got saved, and said that he felt completely different. He was like, "I don't know what this feeling is." I was like, "That's God." That's all it can be. That's God, man.
See, it's okay. He's good. But it's stuff like that I hope it opens your eyes. When he felt the fire, he felt the calling. He took the step. For Jessica to listen whenever God spoke to her, that's a hard thing, because a lot of people, like, you feel that in your gut, like the gut feeling. You just don't know when you feel that and you know that it's God speaking to you.
Yeah.
Please listen. I've been in that scenario so many times. I've actually been in the scenario and not listened, and I've watched as pillars of my life start falling apart. And I know it's a test. Like, I'm not saying God just puts these tests in front of you, but God will place things in your life that are trials. You have to overcome these trials, and you're always working to be a better version of yourself, right? So if you get
Right.
trials placing you in front of you all the time, and you constantly tell them no, again, I feel like it's a slap in the face. Like, if y'all heard my past podcast, I have alarms on my phone to make sure that I pray. And I can't, if I die on my sprayer at lunchtime and I skip 2 prayer alarms, when I get up to heaven and God asks me, "Have I prayed today? Have I tried to speak to the Lord today?" And I say, "I skipped both alarms."
Yeah.
It just, for one, I'm actually having to make the effort to skip them. So now I'm either making the effort to ignore the fact that I need to pray,
Yep.
or I'm going to pray. And so I've picked the latter, because
Right.
not out
Be
of fear. I mean, not out of fear, but just out of the fact that I know I need to pray more. So I'm
Right.
working on that. I'm making those steps, kind of like you said. You can't work it for them. Like they say in the recovery, I can't work the steps for you, just like
Right.
you can't work the steps for me. It's a process on your own. You have to be the one to overcome that. Now, it's a matter of whether you choose faith, or there's people that choose other routes. Like AA talks about a higher power, which could
Right.
be literally anything in their reference. So, like, if the doorknob, like they use that as the main one, because you touch that every single day. If that's the one thing you rely on, that's the one thing that is your higher power. If that keeps you sober, that's all they need.
Right.
And with us, our higher power is God, Jesus. That's our higher power. That's what we cling to, because we have faith. I don't even want to just say faith. It's reality. I mean, look at the way the world is nowadays, and you tell me that there's not a God.
Right.
And people that say all the bad in the world, the wars and everything, I'm going to reiterate Genesis and how it talks about free will, but God gives us the decision to make our own decision. He
Right.
doesn't place and make decisions for us.
Right.
He very well could. He's the all-powerful entity of more unfathomable than anything you could think of. So in that same sense, any decision made by somebody else to harm somebody, or any decision made by a group of people to harm somebody, is done by them and their decisions. It's
Right.
not an act of God. So, like, wars going on, people like us sending people to Afghanistan, that's not God sending people. That's a decision somebody made to send somebody else and risk somebody else's life. So in the same scenario as, like, I don't want to bring up politics. That's for the conspiracy episodes. But it's just frustrating because people that they don't understand the benefits of claiming and taking control of your free will and actually making, like me, making an effort to pray more, just to
Right.
making an effort to go to the altar whenever he was called.
Yeah.
Even yes, fresh out of addiction, but a lot of people who are in addiction, you can still make that change. Like I know people who, and they'll tell you, I'll try to bring them on here eventually if they're willing to come on, but a lot of people are kind of scared of the camera. But if they're willing to come on, I know people that's been sober for 30 years, and the day that God called them home, they put the drugs down, and that was their crutch. That was their higher power. That's what they leaned on.
Yeah.
And with you, I feel like Justin kind of leaned on you and God.
Yeah.
And for him, for even if with it just being a week, I don't want to say just a week. Anything past a day, you're amazing.
Literally.
You are amazing because it just takes that like one day at a time. And
Literally.
people that don't understand addiction don't understand how hard it is to make it through that one day.
Yeah.
And, for him to be a week sober, for him to give his life over to God. And then before we get into that, because I do want to read this scripture, and this is partially as to why we believe that you are saved by faith and not works. But Ephesians 2:8-9, it says, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourself, it is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." Salvation isn't earned. It is received.
Right.
Again, Romans 10:9 says, "If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and I believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved."
Yeah.
John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only," or it says one and only son, but only begotten son, "to whoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." That is why we proclaim and understand that you are saved by faith. And the fact that Justin took the step when God called his name.
Right.
That's why I say I'm jealous. Like I don't wish that I die anytime soon.
Right.
But I hope that the day that I do, I know where my heart's at.
Right.
And I strive every day to be a, what do they call it? You don't want to, what's the word? Like hinder your witness. What's the word? Falter your witness. There's a word for it. People say it all the time. But you don't want people to see you and think, "Oh man, he's not Christ-like."
Yeah.
And that's the thing that gets me, is because I try my best. I do. I don't like say that's not glorifying anything. I work every day to be a better version of myself.
Yeah.
But I still cuss, and scripturally, that if you want to, we could talk about that on another episode. But scripturally, cussing, it's not in the scripture. It's talking ill of somebody or other things, speaking profanity and stuff like that. So
Right.
there's ways that it's, but you can't glorify one. So like I can't just try to say it and make it sound like it's an okay thing to do. If I'm in the church, there's no reason for me to be on stage cussing.
Right.
Same thing. I think Pastor Caleb had a meeting with us about cigarettes. It doesn't matter what we do outside the church, but it would make no sense for me to be on stage smoking a cigarette, because it's going to hinder my witness. Like
Right.
it's just going to, because there's people that find that ugly. Same thing with cuss words. There's people that find that ugly. Smoking, the people that they find it as, I mean, I hate to say it, it's judgment being passed. Topic for another discussion. But it boils down to them not, like again, me not wanting to hurt my witness.
Right.
And I don't want to do things that make people not want to seek out the Lord. So like,
Right.
with Hank, we have our conflictions about the way that we've studied and the way our convictions are, right? But it doesn't hinder us as people. Like he's still my friend. I'm still going to love him to the end. Like whether his convictions are different than mine, whether he studies the word, the thing is, when he first started seeking it out, he was studying, and his heart was in the Church of Christ. I mean, he was raised in that church, so that's where his heart was at. So I'm not going to say anything that conflicts with it. I'll point him in the direction of the word, but I don't want to steer him away. It's not an argument. It's not a debate. I don't care how you study the word, as long as you're studying it and getting what God gives you.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's a living word, follows us to this day. And that's why if you're listening, please, if you have a Bible and you've never picked it up, just crack it open one time. And again, it's hard to open the beginning of Old Testament and try to go through it, because there's a lot of genealogy. But you can find different routes. There's books. I don't have the information on here because I didn't plan on talking about this, but there are books you can look at, and that, I say books, but it's really just books that have different Bible stories and chapters and stuff in them, but they're coordinated in a way that you can kind of read and understand. But I do recommend going back and starting the Bible from start to finish, so you can understand and put the pieces back together.
Right.
but still study the Word. I mean, like I think Hank said it on his podcast, but we believe that every version of the Bible, the NIV, King James, it's the living Word. So every version you pick up is meant to speak to you.
Yeah.
Whether you're picking up that little bitty tiny pocket Bible that you found on the side of the road, like it might have been meant to be in your pocket for you to read.
My kids carry those in their backpacks
As
to school.
It's the best thing. I actually saw one. They carry them. I don't know if it's in all Army branches or military branches, but I think it was a Marine. He got shot, and like he pulls out, it's just this little Bible, and you know it's so sad because you I don't know how descriptive I can be, but like he gets shot, he pulls the Bible out, blood gets on the Bible, but the last thing he does is open it up to try to read it before I assume he passed away.
Yeah.
Because then the camera dies and the Bible falls. But that's people that are striving, like that's what I want my last moments to be, me trying to seek out the Word one last time, which is what Justin did.
It is.
Now, to get into the hard stuff, and you can be as descriptive as you want.
I'm going to try to.
It's live, so I don't know if it'll get flagged. If it does,
I'm going to
honestly,
try to not say the things.
I mean, if it does, I plan on actually doing a full, like I want to do yours, like the documentary style. So like if you're seeing this episode and it's new to you, it is new to me as well. We're trying live episodes because one day I plan on this being a full-time job. I would love to share his testimony every single day, whether it's like a breakfast testimony or something like that. But I have to do these to be able to branch this out enough to where I can get it. I know a lady who's been doing podcasting for 4 years, and now she's cleared $95,000 in ads, which is bonkers. And it's strictly from ads, not even talking about the merchandise she sold. And whereas we try to give back 20%, so far we've been giving back almost 100% because we haven't been selling anything. And I realized now that's on me. So if you want to buy a shirt, go to the website. The shop is open now. I didn't realize, but I don't have the updated hoodies on here. I'll show those in a second. We got some pretty neat merch. I'm hoping to get bracelets coming, stickers and everything like that. But right now we have hoodies. We actually have this hoodie for sale. It's got I say original logo, but this is our finished logo. The first logo was mine. I kind of drew it up myself and did it a little bit, but it still looked too grungy. This is our legit logo from here on out, not counting our logo up here, which will one day be this same thing. I just got to find somebody that can do metal work for not $1,200. I cut it out with scissors for my. I put aluminum foil on wood, but still
Cardboard.
Exactly. Well, we're trying to do this full time, and if you're catching this now, my name's Alex. This is the Testimony Podcast. We share stories of hope, transformation, faith, anything that somebody is doing to better themselves every day. This is a motivational, faith-based podcast. And even though you're hearing a story right now that seems like it's not motivational at first, because we are talking about a passing of somebody. In the end, actually before he passed, that's where the motivation is. He heard God speaking to him. He felt that feeling in his gut to go to the altar, and he took that step. Yep. And that same night he was called home. And we're about to dive into that. This may get descriptive. I apologize. I don't know if it's going to get flagged or not. It's live, so hopefully not. It's actually pulling up the chat now. Who do we have in here? Oh, Claudia said, "You got this, sister."
Hey, Claudia. I love Claudia.
And I think Coda's in here too. And we got it. Okay, there's a lot more here than I thought there was. All right, well, it's streaming. I don't know if it's through one platform or through both, but
we don't know.
It'll work out in the end. I know that once this does hit Apple Podcasts, that's where the family's at so far. Like Instagram's blowing up a little bit. I think across the board, with my Facebook included, we're around 7,500 followers in the past 3 months, and it's slowly growing. I would have almost been one of the fastest growing podcasts in Arkansas, but then Bryce dropped his Arkansanity. Shout out Bryce Mitchell again. He was on, I think, episode 3, but he dropped a podcast here recently called Arkansanity. He is talking about his faith and everything that he believes, flat earth, all the I don't want to say conspiracy theories, because to me it might be conspiracy theory. To him, he full-fledged believes this stuff. But that is my boy. Go follow him. Check out Arkansanity. If you don't like something he says, get over it. I don't know how to. I can't. I mean, listen. I can't get mad for you, but I can't get mad at you for what you believe. Like, right. I cannot agree with you, but it's not my place to get mad at you. Like he believes in flat Earth, and I get where he's coming from, because the heavens above and the heavens below, the ocean, water above them. So there's. I understand, but I don't know enough of the facts for me to believe in flat Earth yet.
Right. Mm.
But again. I believe in what I was taught, and was everything I taught right? I don't know. I'm questioning dinosaurs right now. So I mean, there's so much going on with the way I'm being convicted about little things. I'm studying the Word, and I know a guy who does not believe in dinosaurs because they're not in the Bible, but the Bible does talk about dragons. So that's a topic for a conspiracy episode. But again, we share these stories to bring light to people so that y'all can find a little bit of hope, whether it's in a testimony or just in me talking about recovery. I hope that y'all find a little bit of advice and a little bit of hope. Now, this right here might get dark. I apologize, but I love you all. We're going to talk about the night that it happened. So we've talked about him going to the altar. We talked about him getting saved, and we talked about him feeling like he knew his life changed after that. And this is the part that kind of scares me, because the way I'm going to dive into it, and a lot of people that hear this, a lot of people that's dealt with stuff like this, you deal with it after the fact. When my dad passed away, I pulled up after it happened. I saw my uncle in the street crying. That's when the ambulance pulled up. It was after the fact. You were actually on the phone with him when this happened.
I was.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the one thing that it stuck with me so much, because again, it was hard for me to tell my wife that my dad passed away, and this is after the fact. For you to be on the phone, and again, if I ask a question
No, you're good.
Please forgive me if I cross a boundary by asking questions, but I'm trying to open up about this so other people that are dealing with something similar, they can understand too.
Yeah.
There is somebody with them. They're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that think they're alone. I promise you, there is somebody that is dealing with something similar, if not the exact same thing.
Right.
And that's why we share these stories. You never know who it's going to impact. But for you, after that day, what was the phone call like from the start, from the beginning? What was it like? Him calling you? I forget what was.
So he actually called me at 9:00. Now, mind you, he passed away at 11. So 9:00-ish, he called me. He said, "Hey, meet me at the state line. I'm gonna fill up your gas tank." So I went up there, filled up my gas tank. We hung out for a little while, just rode around for a little bit. And it was storming. And my 17-year-old was home. And he said, "Hey, Mama, power just went out." And I told Justin, I said, "Hey, I've got to get to the kids. I'll call you whenever I get home." So it's probably a 10-minute drive from the state line to my house. And so I get on our street and I take a picture of the street of how dark it was. And I sent it to Justin. It was like, holy cow, everything. I live out by the steel mills. It's so dark out there at night. I said, holy cow, everything is dark. And when I did that, the dash of my truck lit up. Justin had left his phone in my truck. So I was texting my brother, I'm on my road. I would text voice chat, I'm like, "Hey, I need to get Justin back his phone. He left his phone here. I'm going to need your help, because lights went out, all the things."
Man.
So in that moment, I looked behind, in my mirrors, and I could see his wigwag lights. My husband was a mobile diesel mechanic. He had all the big fancy lights on his truck, and I could see him in my rearview mirror because it was so dark out there. And I was like, something is flashing. And I realized it was Justin. I was like, "Oh, thank goodness your phone is on the hood, the dash of my truck." So I gave him his phone. I was like, "I love you." He was like, "Well, I'm going to go finish working on this Peterbilt." I was like, "Okay, I love you. I'm going to take care of the kids." And he pulled off and went around our road the way it is. There's a gravel that goes on the backside of our road. And I got inside real quick, and it was raining bad, storming. And I got inside and I changed real quick because the bottom, I'm 5'1". I can't buy pants that fit. So they were soaked at the bottom. And so I get inside real quick, and it's 2 seconds after I get there, power comes back on. I was like, dang.
Wet for no reason.
So I changed, threw my hair up in a hair clip. Kids were watching a movie, and Justin calls me. At this point, it's 11. My phone rang at 11:19. And I answered my phone, and I was looking I could see his location, and it was raining so bad, I wanted to make sure he was getting where he was going. So he called me, and all he said was, I'm wrecking. And I stayed I threw my shoes on real quick. I started yelling for my oldest son, who's 17. I said, I got to go. I got to go. Justin just said he's been in an accident. I've got to go. Now, mind you, I have my 2 younger children in my bed watching a movie. And they're 13 and 9. So at first I was like, everybody get your shoes on. Let's go. We got to go. And Aiden's like, absolutely not. They can stay here. They need to stay here. And he was like, it's already raining. It's already bad. My son was the voice of reason whenever it came to this. Now, my middle son was at his best friend's house for the night.
Now, Aiden's your oldest, right?
Aiden is my oldest.
How old was he at this time?
16.
Okay.
16. This happened in April. He turned 17 in August. So, he goes in the garage and my oldest son starts grabbing chains. And I'm like, we don't need chains. He's in the service truck. We're good. Because I'm thinking he just went off in a ditch, you know. And I still have Justin on the phone. And I can hear everything, but I'm not hearing anything, if that makes sense. I could hear the truck still running. So I was like, okay, the truck is still running. So that's a good thing. And I'm thinking, he hit his head. He hit his head and he's knocked out. And the whole way there, I'm tapping on my steering wheel. I'm like, Justin, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I was about 8 minutes from him, from where he was at. With the rain being as bad as it was pulling up on the roads. So you could hydroplane very easily. Now, mind you, my husband drove a 1997 F-350 that had a service bed on it and had horrible brakes. And the whole way there, I'm telling Aiden, I'm like, I already have the pintle hitch on my truck. You get the chains off of the truck. We'll just start pulling it out, calling 911, doing whatever we got to do. Because I'm thinking he just hit his head. In my head, I thought my husband was invincible. He was invincible. You know, he's done some crazy stuff, you know, and I just thought, it never crossed my mind that he had died, or that passed away. And so we get there, we get to the wreck site, and I can see it because he still has all of his lights on. I could see his wigwag lights were still on, and I was like, truck's still running, you know, and I see the truck, and when we pull up, I'm like, this is not that bad. He's fine. Everything's fine. Looking back on photos, my brain is a liar. So I run up and I'm like, he's in the field, because the door was open on his truck. And I run up and I'm like, he's in the field somewhere. He done hit his head, got confused. He's done walked off somewhere. Where is my dog? Because my dog was with him also. So I'm like, wait, we've got to find Waylon. We've got to find Justin. Waylon was our pit bull. And I'm walking around and I'm yelling for him, but it's so dark and it's raining so hard and we're in a soybean field. So there's no lights out here. We're on a back road to Missouri. I mean, it is pitch black and all you can see is his bright amber wigwags. And so you're trying to see, but you can't because it's the lights are so bright. And I'm looking around and I'm realizing there's a light pole down. There is an electrical pole down and it's raining and we're walking through this field with wires everywhere, live wires everywhere. And so I start panicking. I'm like, I've got to find Justin. I've got to find him. We got to get out of here. This is going to zap us, you know? Man. And I heard my oldest son scream. And I walked over to where he was and we found Justin. And I didn't even think about it. I just laid down in the mud with him and I just started talking to him. Hey, we're okay. I'm here. Aiden, call 911. We've got to find Waylon. If you find Waylon, put him in my truck. Justin, I need you to get up. Justin, you have to get up, you know. And I took off my sweater because it was raining and he did not have on a jacket. So I covered him up. I was thinking, this is already bad enough. He's going to be jacked up from this wreck. I don't need him to be sick too, you know. So I covered him up with my sweater and I'm laying there and I'm talking to him. Aiden calls 911 and he is kind of walking around, Aiden is, and he's trying to like figure out, now mind you, there are parts and tools everywhere. Welders are out there. I mean, air compressors. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. This was a fully loaded service truck. So there's wrenches. There's everything that a mechanic would ever need everywhere. And I'm trying to get Justin up. I'm trying to talk to him. Now, mind you, what I could see of him, I could see that he had broken his arm. But everything else, I didn't see anything gory. There was no bodily liquids leaking from him. There was nothing of that sort whatsoever that I could see. And it also could be my brain protecting me from that, you know. But Aiden screamed again, and I'm like, there can't be anything else. Come on. And he found our dog. Our dog also passed away in the accident. Ambulance shows up probably 30 minutes later. 30 minutes later. And in my head, I'm talking to him. He hears me. Everything's fine, you know, and I'm trying to check for a pulse, and I'm rubbing his back. I'm like, he's breathing. He's breathing. But my hands were shaking so bad that there was no way, you know. And first responders get there. I know the guy, you know. I'm like, hey, come on, help me with him. Help me get him up. And he said, Jessica, you need to take a step back. Give me just a second. Watch where you're walking. There's live wires everywhere. And the moment that he got down in Justin, and he's like, he's feeling him. He's doing all the things that I was doing. And he said, Jessica, I need you to step back. He said, give me just a second. And then he said, here's what you can do. Here's what I need you to do. I want you to lay here. I want you to talk to your husband. I want you to kiss him and tell him how much you love him. And I was like, I've been doing that. But whenever the ambulance gets here, I'm just going to go to the hospital. Like, my son can drive my car home. I'm not worried about my vehicle. Like, I will call a tow truck. Now, mind you, my husband had friends that had tow trucks and things like that. I can make a phone call and have this truck moved. Don't worry about this. Like, I'm going to make a police report. We'll do all the things. And he said, Jessica, whenever everybody else gets here, they are not going to let you touch him. But I know you. Like, love on your husband until they get here. And then whenever they get here, they're not going to let you around him. I was like, no, I'm going to the hospital. It did not click with me. I was like, no, I'm going to the hospital. I have a sweater on him so he doesn't get sick. Like, I'm like covering him up, and I'm praying. I don't think I've ever prayed that hard in my life. You know, God, I led him to the water. God, like, you're going to take care of him. Help me, God. Like, don't do this to me. And it honestly probably didn't hit me that he was gone. Like, fully hit me. The next day I was like, he really is gone. But it was probably August or September whenever I was like, he really is never coming home. You know, the things that I seen were not as terrible as you would think, by God's grace, or they could have been in my brain as like, hey, I got you, fam. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm not going to let you see it. But my son, we've compared stories on what maybe he had seen and what I had seen, two completely different scenes. You know, I thought whenever I got to the tow truck company the next day and was like, I seen his truck, I was like, y'all destroyed his truck. And they were like, ma'am, we picked this truck up like this. And I was like, no, I seen it last night. Y'all had to have done this. What did y'all do to it? And that was the next day. I was like, no. And mind you, I hadn't slept or anything. I seen his truck and I was like, there's no way. This was not what I seen last night. There's no way. And it was. I got the photos and it is exactly what I seen that night. But my brain did not let me know, like, hey, this is bad.
Did you send me a photo of that or no?
Of the trucks? Yeah, of the truck.
I'm going to try to pull
Now, mind you, it was a one-car accident. It was just him. He hydroplaned going about 90 in his F-150. Or F-350. There's his truck. Part of it.
Alright, so we're going to... How do I save this? Did I download them all? Did I download them? I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Alright. They're saved to something. Let me go to photos.
Yeah, when I seen his truck, I was so mad at the company. And he was good friends with this guy. I was like, what did you do to his truck? And I realized, he was like, ma'am, we didn't do this. Like, this wasn't us, you know. It did not click to me that that's what he had done to his truck. And honestly, for months, I was like, he's going to come home and see his truck and be so mad. He is going to be so mad because he loved that truck. It was his dad's truck and then it was his, you know. And He had just put all the good stickers on it and done all the things and got it the way you wanted it. Terrible.
No, I just saved these and it's not going to pull it up. Maybe. Well, she sent me pictures of the truck. And what I assume happened is it saved them.
Probably back as far as
Whenever
long ago
you
when I
saved
took them.
Yeah. So I'm going to try something a little different.
I hate that Apple does that now.
Oh, it's cheeks. So I'm going to click. And yeah, y'all bear with me. I'm trying to pull up a picture of the actual truck when it happened.
Believe it or not, I went and looked at the truck the next day, and he was hitting his brakes so hard that it literally got embedded into the floorboard of his truck.
Gee.
And one of the pedals got hooked up underneath one of the other pedals because he was pressing it. Or it could have been, honestly from the accident itself, but he was pressing it down so hard that it just literally about pulled his pedals through the floor.
All right, so I don't know what I just did. Hopefully it was still on the camera. But let's try this. Okay, I know it's black now. I apologize. Bear with me. I'm trying to pull up a photo. And hopefully it's going to work. Right. Nope. Oh well. I don't know what to do with this.
If they want to see him, they can message me.
How do you even word that? Let me see pictures of your husband's accident.
Hey, I've had worse things come from people, actually.
It is a pretty wild scene, guys. I wish it would let me actually save this. I don't know. Trying. It's because it's pulling up as a slideshow. So maybe if I go to, honestly, y'all gotta bear with me on the lives because I'm still learning the software. But if I'm not mistaken, I can change this to a scene. Scene. No, I don't want to add two. No, create new. God. Well, we're gonna remove that scene. Trash. Yeah, there we go. Now we're gonna try to do this again. Scene 3. Add source. Scene. I don't know if I break this computer. Add source. Media source. Browse. Please pull it up this time. Barnacles.
Barnacles.
All right, well, my apologies. I'll edit it and put them in like the actual video once we get done with the live. But it is pretty tragic. Like I'm looking at the photos now, and from what I see, I mean, it's just the front doesn't the front picture doesn't really do it justice, but the back one is pretty scary because when it's a service truck, imagine the electrical trucks but without the big bucket on top and the arm, and you got the big white back trailer full of tools, and it's what I'm looking at. It's all collapsed.
It was a nappy trailer or nappy truck bed.
So that just imagine that truck bed, but completely in shambles.
Like ripped off toolboxes, and jammed up other ones, and it was wild.
When you said something that you know, like you felt like, you know, you didn't know if it was God carrying you through, or if you just, you know, you had that right positive mindset going through the whole thing. But I can wholeheartedly say that I know it's God. But and I'm just gonna read
Yeah.
scripture. And again, this is why I love doing these things live, because I've been doing these episodes, and it's wild to me to see how God works, because a lot of the stuff that they say, I just put together questions and scripture, and this is just what I was planning on saying anyways. But the fact that she's mentioned about it, I love the way God works. With her saying that, to kind of answer the question, so if you're listening to this and you're wondering as a spouse, like if you're dealing with something trialing, but you feel like you're okay, you're at peace, and it's strictly because of this, though. But in Psalms 34:18, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit."
Funny story. That's going on his headstone.
That is?
Yep, that scripture.
See that? Again, I love the way God works. And stuff like this is why I believe there's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. So, like, you got put in that bad scenario and you made the bad decision, and now you have a bad aftermath. That was supposed to happen because of the decision you made. There's, like, again, the butterfly effect. Every decision leads to a completely different outcome.
Yep.
Simulation theory. There's so many different variants of what's going on in reality, because there's so many different things that can happen. But for us just to happen the way, and me to end up doing a live, we've been planning her episode for, I think it was going to be episode 6, and it was going to be episode 9, and it slowly got pushed back because I wanted to do the documentary style, but something kept telling me to do a live, and I had no idea why. And this is why. This is why.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling, if you're a widow, if you're catching this later on, you're not listening to the live, please understand, the whole reason behind any of this is so that way when somebody hears one of these stories, you're not alone. I had it, actually, it's the quote on the first piece of merchandise we ever put out. It was on the shirt, and it's because it's something that's literally changed the way I look at myself. But it's the quote that you are enough.
Mm-hmm.
You are not we, not just the whole group. Yeah, you have you and God, but the people that feel like they have nobody, that feel like they're struggling the most, you are enough.
Right.
I mean, that is, you have to hold on to those little things, and to know that God was with Justin the entire process, to know that he took the step when God called him home. And before we wrap it up, there's a few things that I don't want to leave y'all hanging as to what happened afterwards, because y'all see Jessica now, and she works at the steel mill. So like a lot of this stuff, yes, she's tougher than most. I want to say it like that, like you're a butch, but you're not. But she's tougher than most women, because everybody at the steel mill, if you're listening to this and you work at the steel mill, please go ahead and comment and tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm not.
They're built different.
I've yet to meet a happy person at the steel mill, except for the guy that's making $250,000 a year. They always seem to be pretty cheery.
Yeah.
But you have these people that are working 12s, 4 on, 4 off, on call for the other 4. So like they never get time off.
Right.
Like same thing for you. Like you're working all the time. Even now, like after losing your husband, you're still caring for, I don't want to say 3 kids, because Aiden's about to be moving out, but you're caring for 4 kids. One young adult that's stepping into the world. One young adult that had to witness the same thing that you had to witness.
Yeah.
And even for him, I wish he was here too, because I could kind of make a joke with him. But he still comes to recovery service, and he actually gets to help me recover some, because we're doing a teen small groups now. But I get to sit out there and talk to him, and what he doesn't know is I get to open up to somebody who, yes, he's young and impressionable. So everything I say, the same thing as like his father and his mother. What do they say? I'm an adult, so they're going to see that, and it's impressionable.
Right.
But what he doesn't know is he's making an impression on me, because I'm getting to witness a young man who is trying to make a difference in other people. So like Diego, like it's, I don't even know if, I'm not going to say his last name, because I don't know if I should have said his first name, but young dude, so sweet.
Yeah.
But like even he came in, and to meet Aiden one time, to meet Ace, to meet Zach one time, and be like, man, where are they at? Like that you're making an impact bigger than they know. Like that. I wish they'd see that. Like I wish I'd have known I was making an impact on people as a kid.
Right.
And I didn't. Like I was a terrible kid. I was a terrible young adult. Up until I gave my life to the Lord, I was terrible.
Right.
Because of my own actions, my own decisions. I didn't have remorse.
Right.
Like a lot of people don't understand remorse, but like remorse is that I didn't give, almost, sorry for my church people, almost said so much. I didn't care at all.
Right.
I had no cares for any feelings towards my wife, her family, my family. Like I wanted what Alex wanted, and that was it.
Yep. Selfish.
Very selfish.
Yep.
Borderline narcissist. Like,
Yeah.
other than the fact that I was really, what's the word? I was really confident, but I was really insecure. Like,
Right.
that's the only thing holding me back is if I could feel like I made myself look like I'm really confident. Like,
Right.
if I'm planning something, I'm gonna try to at least seem like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
But I wish I could just make myself feel that way about myself. That's the
Yep.
only thing that's holding me back. But for somebody like Jessica, who has literally dealt with what I would call one of the worst scenarios, like, I got to see a lot of death. Like, I seen my grandma, I seen my uncle, I seen my
Right.
dad. Like, I seen all this, but I didn't have to experience it when it happened.
Yeah.
There's people that are listening to this, even if you're the widow that didn't experience it when it happened, but you're listening to this and you're wondering, like, how do you cope with this stuff? That's what I'm leading into now, is these couple of questions. But after all this, yes, you seem so positive, but again, she's going to recovery. She helps teach with us on Wednesday. I say with us, but with the entire, we go to a big
And on
church.
Sundays.
So she's helping on Sundays, Wednesdays. I don't think she knows it, but she's one of the big leaders at our recovery service, just because she fulfills an aspect that a lot of women need. So, like, that widow, and I hate to say that, like, you're now, or like,
Yeah.
if we have a widow come in, go to Jessica to understand how,
Yeah.
what she uses to cope. But again, the advice and everything that, like, she's about to give y'all, like, I say it in our recovery group, but my advice worked for me, and I can't promise it'll work for you.
Right.
Same thing for anything Jessica says. You can't promise it'll work for you, but that's what the heart of these stories are for, is because this is somebody who's experienced it to the fullest extent.
Yep.
Like, having to lay there next to her husband after the crash,
Right.
to still have hope, and then at the end of it, to still be able to see the light. Like,
Yeah.
even in the absolute darkest time, you're still able to see the light of it. And
Right.
that's why I've bragged and kind of, like, teased about this episode for so long, is because
Yeah.
it opens people's eyes to so much. Not just about the faith or being saved or going to heaven or giving your life over or following God's path, but to just be strong. To literally be strong. That is, I mean, that's the hardest thing of all, is to maintain your composure through it all. It's like, even now, I struggle talking about, I can talk about my dad all day. Like,
Right.
I've gotten to where I've talked about that, but, like, talking about my twin sister, I still get very, very emotional.
Right.
And I try not to. And for you to be able to share this story, to share your testimony, and to be able to hold it together, because there's people watching this that want
Right.
to see the strength. And there's also people that, if you're watching my episodes and you're looking for a tear every episode, I promise you're listening for the wrong reason. Yes, we have emotional episodes. Yes, we have tear-jerking episodes. But a lot of the times, it is to shed light on the things they've went through, to show the strength. That's my strength. That's why we bring fighters on. The recovery process to go through as a fighter, outside of the ring and inside of the ring.
Right.
The strength it takes to go through these scenarios and still be able to speak about it. That's what I want people to understand. Yes, these people are able, like, Jessica's able to sit here next to me on camera and share to the world. And I'm not sure who all is in the live. I think it says 10, and that's just what's on the YouTube. I don't know what else is on. But, like, Apple Podcasts, whenever these stuff does start reaching across the world,
Yeah.
that's what I want y'all to see. So, like, even now, if you were watching this expecting her to break down, and I didn't know how this was going to play out.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Me neither.
And and I also believe you do have a rock sitting next to you that's kind of your
Yeah.
comfort zone too, even though he was snoring a little bit earlier,
A little bit.
knocked out. But she has those people that are supporting her. I'm a shoulder to cry on, but again, I'm a man I'll never deal with any womanly issues. Thank God. But in the
Lucky.
same, I know. Thank you. Like, if you're a woman and you listen to this, so much more respect comes from me than you ever could know, because the thought of carrying a baby is the most disgusting thing I've ever.
It's horrible.
It's gross. You're a tank. It's to carry 4. Dakota still wanting to carry more. Y'all are. Oh, dude, that's just like, that is like the worst. I could not imagine something growing inside of me. That's my biggest fear.
It's wild.
But for you, we're gonna get into the advice before we get out of here. We're gonna let her share a little bit, a few tips as to what it's like coping with all this afterwards. So I got a few questions. I don't know if we ever get through all of them, because we're running at. Oh, we still got plenty of time. I'm not gonna keep you here later. We were supposed to start this at 7. I'm sorry, it's 9:45 Central Standard. Wherever you're listening at, it's 9:45 here in Arkansas. Because there's a few guys that are PST and
Yeah.
I've never actually had to learn PST and EST
Right.
until I got into this group chat when there's guys trying to do a live at 9:30 EST, and I'm like, what does that mean? I get to go back an hour. It's like they're 8:30, I'm good. But the people that are on the West Coast, computer's gonna die. It'll be all right. We're almost done. But either way, I'm learning all this stuff as I go. So same thing with OBS, same thing with Restream and Rumble. I apologize about the Rumble not being live. I don't know what I did. I deleted something and I shouldn't have. So I'll post this one on Rumble tomorrow after I get this one saved off of YouTube. And then next week, hopefully, we'll have a live Rumble. No, I take that back. Next week's episode's a little different. That big guest next week, but I'll talk about that in a second. But Jessica, after all this happened, after everything you've been through, and the question I have on here is who were you before that night? You've already answered that. You were the person that Justin absolutely needed. Like you said, you might have been his beckoning call, the one that he felt God calling on him, but you were the one trying to help him. Like again, my wife is my beckoning call.
Right.
When I'm struggling, I have that feeling, but I don't know if it's right. I just rely on my wife. Is this gut feeling I'm feeling really the right direction? But what is something about widowhood that people don't understand? Being a current, living your life after the fact. I'm not saying years after. This happened,
10 months ago today.
10 months ago today.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that either. Fate. But for this to happen 10 months ago, from in those 10 months, what has widowhood looked like for you? What has helped you?
Grief isn't always crying. Grief isn't always, honestly, and you can ask my children, the first, 6 months, I was not this big, strong person at home. At home, my oldest son would have to cook dinner because I couldn't get out of bed. Seeing his belongings would destroy me. Literally 2 nights ago, I was going through his stuff, smelling it, touching it, and I just put it back. I cried for a minute, put it back, put it up, and then I went back to being mom. Grief is at the grocery store and you hear a song and you're like, don't cry in the grocery store. Don't cry in the grocery store. Grief is seeing the things that my kids are doing that he doesn't get to see. It's knowing that my son is almost 18, which realistically means grandkids are in the next 5-10 years or so, that he will never get to help me raise the grandkids or give them Red Bulls and send them back.
So if you're seeing me and you're wondering why I'm not laughing, I'm laughing because when she said here soon she's going to have grandkids, she's got her son sitting next to her, and he's not I. But since you said that, I feel like you're probably going to be the first one to pop one out. So, Aiden, you're the oldest, but Ace, I'm sorry, but I think you got one coming. Hopefully not too soon because you're still pretty young.
He's a baby. Ugh.
I mean, I ain't going to say.
I know.
16's...
Realistically, I mean,
I know people that...
I was 20 when I had my first kid.
My sister was 14. So, my twin was 14. So, it's wild. But for you saying that, though, and that's something that... And I'm glad Ace is in here because it kind of, I can put my shell on too and not cry. But when she mentioned the thing about the songs, that sticks home with me because I can't listen to Uncle Cracker. I can't. That was my dad's. I can literally hear his voice right now, and it just because he, again, when you're in addiction, back in the day, the casino was the hot spot for meth addicts. So he'd go so much, he'd get free rooms. I can picture us now going at the end of June, or usually spring break around the end of June or beginning of August, right before school starts. We're driving down to Tunica, and we're either in the Camry or the Expedition, and he's patting on the steering wheel, listening to
listening to his songs,
Uncle Cracker, and it's just man, I drift away. That hurts so much because now the song has a completely different meaning for me now. But I listen to those with. It's a tear of happy. I know it brings back those happy memories. You going to sniff
the
his
good
clothes,
stuff.
you get to feel him there.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And even now, I keep a fedora of my granddad's in the back seat of my car, and I'm never gonna wear I say that once I start losing my hair, I'll probably wear it.
Oh Lord.
I just don't think I got the ears for it yet. I think that's the one thing I looked up. All the other Lloyds got these. I just got the nose. But one of these days, I'll probably be able to put the fedora on and actually wear it. But for now, it sits in my back seat, and I get to know that he's always riding with me.
Right.
And that's what I cling to.
Yeah.
And for somebody who's I say fresh, dealing with 10 months seems like a long time, but for dealing with something like this is something that
Some days it feels like forever ago. It feels like 10 years ago. And then there's some days that I feel like it's that night and I'm back in that field while it's raining. And then there's some days that I feel like I'm on the front row of that funeral again. It just it literally is like recovery, but in a sense of some days it's minute by minute. I just got to make it through the next minute. I just got to make it through the next 10 minutes. But then some days it's like, I've just got to make it through today. I can try again tomorrow. Even if I have a day where I'm feeling all the feels, I'm crying, I'm having a day, which happened the other day, actually. I just got to I've made friends with my grief. She's always going to be there, and I've just gotten to where I can kind of feel the waves coming and I hold my breath and I prepare, like I know it's coming. I feel it. There's this coming up. Valentine's Day was rough for me. His birthday was rough. My birthday was rough. All the first they say is pretty rough, but I feel like my seconds are going to be more rough. I don't remember a whole lot of this year. The brain fog, like the widow brain, has been horrible. Like, it's bad. The kids have to remind me to do stuff like, hey, Mom, we need to go to the grocery store. Or, hey, Mom, we need to do this. Hey, Mom, did you forget this? Yeah, actually, I did. I actually did forget. Thank you for reminding me,
You got a good support group at home.
Yeah.
You got a lovely bunch of kids, like from Gracie all the way up to Aiden. Oh no, the laptop died. It'll be all right.
Or.
As long as this one stays on. Again, if this computer been having trouble with the computer, so if the computer ever craps out on me, guys, we may be down for a couple weeks because I can't afford another $800 laptop. But for to hear that you actually said something that I've never heard. I've actually never heard a phrase like that at all. But to make friends with your grief, like there's you gotta. I forget what the term is in recovery, but like it's one of the steps. But it's not making amends, but to make friends with your grief, to understand where it stands in your life. Like with my dad, like I know where it stands. I know where I can talk about it. I know where I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I know the things I can talk about, and the things I can't talk about. I've never felt like it that way, but till you said that, but I feel like I have my grief as a friend that it knows its place and I know its place.
Yeah.
So that like I know when to wear, like again, like I just said about the shell. I know when to put the shell on.
Yeah.
And to not stick my head out of it because
Yeah.
I know it's going to be too much for me.
Yeah.
The fact that you're willing to take even just the smallest step and even come on here and share your story to help anybody else is, I say it's a blessing, but it's blessed me in ways that you'll never know, but I know it's going to touch somebody else who's dealing with something very similar.
I knew when Justin passed away that the way that my brain thought, it couldn't have been for nothing. Something good had to have come from this. Don't get me wrong, it sucks. It's bad,
Will you plug that
But
charger up? And
I
plug
knew
in
that
the
if I
slide.
could turn this into something good and I could help somebody, Justin would be so proud knowing that I'm even doing this. Like if he was here, whenever I say he was my biggest cheerleader, like he believed in me to the max. Like he thought I was the coolest thing. Bless his heart. But he believed in me. And no matter what it was, whenever I got my first degree in college, me and Justin were not together at this time. I got my first degree. It's like nobody really cared. But whenever I got my second degree, he'd come home, I see his truck pulling the driveway. I was like, guess what? I got my bachelor's degree. And he was like, are you serious? And he like gets out and he's like hopping around. He's like, I'm so proud of you. Like made it a big, huge deal. And honestly, not a whole lot of people in my life made it a big deal. But coming from somebody that had been in an abusive relationship and homelessness and things like that, that was like a big deal to me. I bought a house. I got 2 degrees. Like I've done all these things and he celebrated those things like I did, So just the fact that I'm even able to talk about it, that's God. Because if I was sitting at home having this conversation with my kids, I cried with Aiden just the other night about it. We were talking about grandkids and all the things and just being able to talk about it without bawling, that's literally God. That is not a Jessica thing.
It's one of the hardest things to do. I mean, expressing your feelings as a man is hard to do. Women, it's like y'all get a free pass to cry whenever y'all want to, but men don't.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, I commend you, and I give much respect because I do see you hold the tears a lot, but there's times whenever like I can't sit in the women's small groups, but when they come out, you can see when somebody's been able to share. And
Yeah.
you're making such a big impact. So like even in there, you can't. That's why I love the testimony. We can come on here, you can share the advice because
Yeah.
the big thing in small groups is there's no crosstalk.
Right.
No crosstalk. I can't ask your advice. You can't give me your advice.
Right.
It doesn't. We're there for support.
Yep.
And to be able to go in there and to be able to get what you want off your chest, to know that I love it because it's like free therapy, but you don't know that you're really impacting everybody in that room.
Right. I know. I agree.
I mean, there's people like
I tell so many people to come.
like the new people we've had in the past. Like I can't say names on here, but much respect to all of y'all for taking the step to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
To step into an environment to think that you're only helping yourself. Lackluster. It's not that is not the cause.
Right.
There's guys like even the young one Diego, like my dude. He's new. I'm literally watching someone who is trying to change the way that not that they feel, but the way that they act. And I don't mean that like
Yeah.
I just want to be a better person, but
Yeah.
like spiritually trying to
I
change
agree.
the way he acts and emotionally. Hugging people like me, he can come up to me and dap me up and hug me, and he came 2 weeks, but I can, I see this in him.
Right.
You have these people that come in that are impacting people without even realizing.
Right.
And,
No, I agree.
Well, and that's what your story is. I know because it's impacted me, and I know there's people that's going to hear it that's going to impact them. But that's why we share stories like this, because you never know what somebody's going through. You never know how they cope with it.
Right.
Like you go into a recovery service, there's no crosstalk. You can hear them share their therapy, but you don't get to ask them any questions.
Right.
And that's why I'm glad we got to do it like this. And I think the other laptop's going to crap out on me. I had another scripture pulled up out of Psalms, but laptop's gone. It was
Just read Psalms.
30. Yeah. Matter of fact, my wife has been read the entirety of Psalms.
I actually have a book that she can read that is just Psalms.
Bring
It's
it
a
to
really
her.
nice, like,
That's what because
nice
we
book.
were doing the Bible says not to speak about boast about things like how do I say it? The church was doing a fast,
yeah.
and that was part of what she was doing.
Yeah.
So like you have to study the word, and there's pieces like again, like I said, from Genesis all the way up. A lot of it's genealogy. It's like a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
is hard to understand. Psalms is one that speaks to you, speaks through you. Like
Psalms and John.
yeah.
Those are my go-tos.
Well, and I like Matthew because it does give you a lot of what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Right.
Like that's like 6'1". That's why you'll never see me. Like I love Bryce Crawford's content. I do not like the way he carries himself. I do not like him going on the streets and praying for people and then having somebody film him and then post it later. Because in the sense, it's like you're basically doing against what Matthew 6:1 talks about, but you don't go and preach in front of the synagogues and all this other stuff for show. And that's what it is. If I'm my full faith, my full I'm drawing a blank, but my full attention. My full attention is not on praising the word and praising the Lord and actually sharing the word with somebody. My attention is on that camera angle and who is filming me and making sure that they can see me and the person I'm trying to pray for.
Yeah, because there goes your blessing.
Exactly. Exactly. That is my conviction. That's why I've still yet to find my niche other than doing like the documentary style where I'm in my own field doing the testimonies. But I still want to be able to do something. So like whether it's like me donating sweaters when I donate to the rehabs, I could kind of film that, but again, I still feel convicted by that. So
right.
I don't,
because there goes your blessing. Like I'm showing everybody. No, I get it.
And I don't want to do that. So like again, I've seen people get on here and they get online with like the other podcasters. And all right, guys, we're going to end this with a prayer. But who are you really praying for? Like,
right.
why are we doing it for show? Like,
right.
Why do y'all have to see me pray? I feel like it takes away from the prayer. And that's never what I want. So like even texting somebody saying I'm praying for you, I feel like it takes away from the prayer because now you're making it known that you're praying for them. Even though they might have asked for your prayers, all you got to do is say, I hear you. I respect that. And that's my hardest thing is like, I don't mind saying I'm praying for you, but to even get on Facebook and just send you a prayer, it just seems so, why are you not just praying for them?
Right.
You're wasting time praying for them to type out that you're praying for them.
I have a list of people that I pray for daily that they probably I know they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that I pray for them. I mean, ugly crying in the car, praying for these people. There's probably 5 or 6 people that daily I bring their name up to God. I'm like, look, bro,
Well,
I need you to help me with this, Lord. Help them, and they don't know.
well, see,
I don't tell them.
the way I look at that though is even and with them not knowing, they may have been dealing with something, and that just, man, how did I get through that?
Yeah.
And it was as simple as person praying for you.
Yeah.
And that's that, man.
I pray for people. I have certain people on my list that I pray for, and whenever I say it literally, oh, I don't want to be praying for them. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But God's like, you know what? You're like, there's a couple that I'm just like, I don't know why you're asking me. I don't know why I'm doing this, Lord, but I'm gonna do it. Love you, mean it. But I'm gonna need you to help me to get through this. So let's pray together, Lord. Like,
I'm right there. I got a super fan. Apparently, there's a guy. It's like making it harder on me. Like, it just.
Aww.
If you don't get reached out from by me on Instagram, Facebook, or the TikTok, please do not reach out to me to say, hey, when am I coming on the podcast? Because I've had somebody going around asking people to come on the podcast and giving out my phone number.
Oh, that's wild.
And they're around here, and I kind of have an idea as to who it is. And it just makes me wonder as to, like, why. But that same instance, like what you're saying, it makes it so hard for me to want to pray for that person.
Which means God is really listening.
but I know that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
That's like that. I'm doing that, and like I know it's all gonna work out. But like that's what you got to do whenever you're dealing with stuff like that. You got to pray. I can't give you any advice that I can promise will work, but I can say that prayer works.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
And if you feel like it didn't, like, oh, I prayed for my grandma, she had cancer, she passed away. God was calling her home.
Yeah.
That was her. That was her time to go. It's a matter of what the steps she took before that time happened as to how where she went. So like the older people. That's why I feel like with the older generations, not because of fear of death coming and like what's the afterlife going to look like for me. That's why I got to get a Bible. I got to start going to church.
Right.
But that's when I feel like, all right, their time's coming and God's starting to throwing the line out there a lot more now. He's not just casting the one and then reeling it back up and wait until it's constantly trying to get you to bite. And if you keep skipping out, you keep telling people, no, I don't want that Bible. You keep telling people, no, I don't want you to pray for me. That'll catch up to you.
Right.
And you never know that one last time of like, man, I don't want you to pray for me. And then you leave. Could be the time like you have the wreck. Whereas with Justin, we know that he gave his life over to the Lord that morning. And like Scripture says, you're saved by faith. I'm so jealous. Like he got to meet Jesus that night.
Literally.
I mean that is the craziest thing to me is that he is now in his eternal home. No questions asked. Like,
right.
There's none of like with me today. I went to work. I came here. I don't think I've done anything wrong, but I can't promise I didn't have a thought of lust or like a bad thought towards. I can't promise those things didn't happen throughout the day. I'm not marking it down every time it happens. I do pray after it happens, but I can't guarantee that I'm living my life the way it's supposed to be lived the time I die.
Right.
Whereas somebody like Justin, man, I know the Bible says not to be jealous, but man, I wish. Okay, I'm knock on wood when I say that, because when I say I wish I was in his shoes, I don't want to die like that.
Right.
Then that leads to like the depression question, like, are you still depressed? No, it's not like that. I'm not suicidal. Matter of fact, now that I've been doing conspiracy podcasts with the other guy, I'm not.
Go ahead and say it.
Not suicidal.
Neither am I.
Used to be depressed. Used to say I was full blown depressed. I'm not depressed. I just struggle mentally with irrational decisions and BPD. Like really high highs and really low lows. I know my medium now. And that's where God comes in. He helps me stay in my happy medium.
That's one thing I say sometimes to people that ask me how I'm dealing with things. I was like, I can't wait to be with him. Man. And they kind of side eye me. I was like, I don't want to die. I don't want to go.
It's like, what do you?
Yeah, I'm like I can't wait to see him again, and I hope it's a while from now. But can't wait to see him again. At first, they kind of side eye you, like, "Girl, you okay?" No, I'm fine.
What do you
I'm just
mean?
saying, I can't wait to see Justin again. And whenever you say that, people are like, "But widows will get it. Widows will get it." Like, I don't want to go anywhere yet, but I cannot wait till the day that I do. Like, My son has even made the comment, and he was like, I'm going to make sure I'm putting your running shoes on you and your lipstick because I know you got a date with your man. I was like,
Dude,
you're right. Ace said that, actually.
it's just it's a party.
Yeah.
I mean, because
It's
that's
Justin. It's going to be a party.
and see now, if you're listening to this and like you're wondering about scriptural accuracy, so we're all going to cross the gates at the same time, according to the scripture. So it's a really deep topic, and it's hard to talk about. But like, are people actually in heaven yet? I ain't gonna go there yet.
Don't go there yet.
But we
Ain't
will
ready for
all
that.
cross the gates at the same time, and that it's a matter of, are we at that gate waiting to get across, or are we in what people call purgatory or emotional distress, and you don't know. I hope I'm crossing the pearly gates with my faith and the way I carry myself. I'd like to say that I know, but you never truly know.
Right.
That's the scary side of it. All right, I finally got it pulled up. I'm going to skip past the psalm because I got really good in Revelation. Then we're going to get to the end of it, and I'll let you follow her on all our platforms. But the final scripture that I want to read is Revelation 21:4. Yes, this is Revelation, the scariest book in the Bible, most would assume. The end of times. It wraps it all up. But in a sense, it's like the key to all of it. It tells you what is going to happen at the end of days. So kind of like the guy that believes he's going to be fighting the end days battle. Maybe he will. If that's what he feel like God's leading, maybe he will. Now, if I'm not going to mention his name because if we do get to bring him on, I'm still debating on that because he's a polyamor, which is polyamorous, and scripturally, that's not okay. So there's, what are you doing for God, really? So I got episode for another time. But it's Revelation 21:4. But he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. For the old order of things has passed away. And yes, that can be taken into a lot of different forms.
Yeah.
But the way I'm using it in this reference is that the past is gone. Bear with me. I know that sounds rough. Jesus is the present.
Yeah.
There is no reason to dwell on the past. Yes, the grief is still there. Like she said, grief is her friend, but she knows where it sits.
Yeah.
But she also knows what sits above all that. And, we ask it every single episode. And, I try to figure out a way to ask it like this without it seeming, it doesn't give that same feel, but it still holds the same weight.
Right.
But Jessica, do you believe God has made an impact on the person you are today and the person you've become?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it weren't for God. In the last 10 years of my life, maybe, I mean, there's been so many opportunities that he could have just been like, all right, come home. And there's been so many times in that time period with things going on in my life that I was just like, God, I can't make it through this. Yeah. I can't do this anymore. There was a time when my kids went and lived with their dad, and there's times that I've been fighting for custody of my kids and things like that. And then the abuse, and then, my husband becoming an addict and all those things. There was a lot of hard stuff, but one thing I can say is with God, I can do hard things. I can do all the hard things. And I don't know how to explain that in a way that somebody that's not been through it, other than like, you gotta do it. People say, Jessica, you're so strong. Well, I've really not really had any other choice. I've had to be. I've had to be tough because I have little people watching me that are not so super little anymore, but they've seen me go from down here and build myself up to a completely different person. The person I was 5-10 years ago was not somebody that you'd even want to be friends with. I was not a great person, and I've grown through God, honestly. That's the only thing that he is the way to anything that you want to try to do in your life.
And so you said something that, and there's a verse that we've all heard, and, it means, I don't want to say it means so much more, but it means so much. but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yes.
That holds weight to every scenario in your life, whether it's like Jessica dealing with not just being a widow, but like having to deal with the mourning, having to care for her children, and having to stay strong for her kids after the fact. Just still let them know that there is a way forward, even though it gets knocked back 1,000 paces. That's why we do this. That's why I'm thankful that you came on, Jessica. Before I let you get off here, I gotta let you share your platforms and everything, but I do want to say it. Well, you can pull up your TikTok.
I was say, hold on.
But Ace, hand me one of those sweaters sitting next to you. So if you're just now tuning in, we finally got our shipment in, and if you're wanting one of the collab sweaters, we have knocked down the price because I don't have a t-shirt press yet, but the goal before the end of the year is to get a t-shirt press so we can start actually donating a lot more clothes to these rehabs and transitional homes and stuff like that. But for now, if you're looking to buy a sweater, what did I pay for this? The collabs, I still have to sell for a decent price because I can't knock his... I can't...
Commission or whatever.
Well, it's not even that. Like, he has a certain value that's held as his product. Like, rappers wear his brand. Like, he has a brand that is... very, very, the fact that he let me collab with him, and we've been doing this for 3 months, was an absolute blessing. But I also have to sell his for quality because, again, his stuff is quality. But we are lucky enough to still have Christmas sweaters left over, so I'm still giving a discount. But we'll let these, I think it was like 60. I'm just going to half off 30 for the collab. I hurt saying that because I really shouldn't, but 30 for the collab. So if you want to get the collab sweater, I've got 5 or 6 left. All of the proceeds, right now I'm donating $100 out of my own pocket because we've just not got the order in. But all the proceeds from these sweaters are going to the Osceola men's athletic department, which is their basketball team mostly. I think they got a baseball team now. When we played them in high school, I don't want to do that. No, when we played them in high school, we beat them 21-2. So like, I don't know if Osceola still got a baseball team or not, but if they do, it'll go towards their athletic department. So if you want to buy a sweater, all proceeds, any profit made from this goes directly to Coach Orr, Coach Allen, all the guys there at Osceola. They're doing big things in basketball right now. I see another state championship this year, and that's no exaggeration. I think they just won district last night. But if you can't see it, that's our logo, and that lovely little snowman right there is wearing Coach Orr's Not Ordinary logo on his sweater. If you want these are $30, except for Miss Jess, because she actually gets to choose between the sweater and one of our newest. Ace, you don't mind handing me one of those? Well, you can see it. No, you got to. I'm wearing one. We also have these in stock now. We're getting more of these in. If you want to place your order, I don't have this on the website yet. I've got just the t-shirts because I don't fully know how to sell stuff through my website, and I'm learning. So if you order a shirt, please reach out to me and tell me that you placed an order online. But for now, reach out on Facebook, DM me on Instagram. You can find all the merch there. We've got these new hoodies out. Any profit made from these, other than subscription costs and stuff like that, any profit made from these sweaters are going to a foundation of Miss Jessica's choosing. I don't know if she even has one ready or not, but
I don't.
she gets to choose where it goes. And when I say this, as much as I would love to give back to Pathway Recovery, I don't think I can. It wouldn't feel right. Like I mean, we help teach this recovery service every Tuesday, and they're really, really affluent. We have plenty of things that accommodate our guests and people that come in, whereas other recovery services do not. Our church is really well off. There's a lot of churches that I wish had what we had.
Right.
Our church, again, I'm not saying that our church doesn't give back. Believe me, they give back way more than literally any church I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But in that same sense, we try to give back. So whether she has one that's decided, or she'll let us know, and I'll post it on Instagram where we'll do that. And where our next month's donations are going to go to. But so far, as a whole, we've been able to donate around $500. $1,500 if you count the 1,000 I've put towards one of the guests so far. But that's still in the process of becoming a big thing that I've got to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. Because we have really big guests reaching out, and they think I'm a producer. I picked up the camera about 6 months ago, and it's sat right here. I'm using my phone. It's all 4K, all the camera angles, all the editing, all that's me. And I've done this within 6 months. So if you think you can't do it, please try. Stick your foot in the water. It's a lot. Well, I ain't gonna say it's easy. My God, it's not easy. Y'all seen? I spent 2 hours trying to set up something I've done the past 3 weeks.
Period.
So like, it's not easy by any means. But I feel like this is what God was calling me to do. I thought it was leadership and ministry. And one of these days, I do feel like I hopefully will be able to minister at church. But I've got to make sure that I'm scripturally accurate. I got to make sure I'm comfortable enough to lead a church and comfortable enough to speak in front of the church, the congregation, and be able to lead and stuff like this. So I feel like I'm being placed in these certain scenarios that one day I can follow that path. But right now, I struggle with speaking on the camera until literally the past few weeks. I'm getting more comfortable at it. But you have to put yourself in those environments. So here in the future, we have a lovely, lovely, amazing episode coming from the guys at Recovery at the Rock. Hopefully a few guys from us at Pathway Recovery. If you're wanting to see a little piece of that, come to Pathway Recovery this Tuesday at 5:45 there in Blytheville. But we're doing actually, I'm doing a lesson over character breakers, but we're going to do an episode over character breakers, which is exposure-based growth. And that's in multiple cases, you're putting yourself continuously in environments that are anxiety filled or embarrassing, taking you out of your comfort zone to break down those walls that you have around the fear and to build back up your confidence. So we have episodes like that coming. We've got a big guest. We've got Downtown TJ Brown coming on next month. Next week's episode, I'm doing it in parts. It's going to be part 1 and part 2. It's 3 hours long, so it's going to be an hour and a half apiece. But Danny from the Rabbit Hole podcast, I thought it was going to be a conspiracy episode, and it turned into being a recovery episode. And that's why we're doing these live. Maybe not all of them be live because, like, Downtown TJ Brown, he's a UFC fighter. He wants to have a good production, so I'm going to have to do my best. But being able to do these lives, you never know how God's going to work. So I did an entire episode with a chick that runs a conspiracy podcast. Shout out, Danny. Much love to you. You are awesome. And I thought it was going to be a conspiracy episode. And come to find out, she dealt with something that more people need to speak up about. I don't want to say it on here. I don't want to take anything away from this episode. This episode is about somebody who's overcame so much, who's got to witness somebody take the step of faith whenever God was calling. And to still stay strong afterwards, not just for her kids, not just for herself, but for everybody around her, because she has so many people depending on her.
Yeah.
Shout out to our co-host that's going to come on here eventually. I don't know if Coda's still watching or not, but Matt, brother.
I threatened to fight him today.
Dude, one of these days. And it's kind of funny because I love the way their family's kind of falling in with ours, because on the conspiracy episodes, I think you're going to start seeing a new future guest. I got to make sure he's comfortable with it. I don't want to say he's going to be yet, but we have somebody who is, I think, wanting to dive into the podcasting game too. Not just Matt, but we actually mentioned him a couple times tonight, but if he's willing to take that step, I'm willing to show him the ropes.
Oh yeah, he wants to.
I'm more than willing to help anybody that wants to start podcasting. So shout out to Mesa Photographies. I don't know what he's calling the podcast. I followed it today. I completely meant to save the name on here so I can give it a shout out. It's not up and running yet, but again, he's wanting to start a podcast, and I think it's funny because people are like, I'm gonna start a podcast, and then you start it and you realize, oh, this is a lot more than I thought it was gonna be. But shout out to David for even taking that step. That first step is all that matters. You've got the platform ready. Start taking the other steps. Push it forward. It'll work out, man. You didn't have that little calling or thought in your mind to do it for no reason. Whether it was because I'm doing this, I doubt it. I believe everything happens for a reason. So if you had that on your heart, stick with it, brother. This is what's on my heart. Sharing these testimonies. Yeah. I full-fledged believe one day I can do this every day and make a living out of sharing hope in everybody else's life. Being able to give back to charities every week, hopefully every week one day. Right now we're at once a month, every 2 months, depending on how much product we sell and who all gives a donation. Speaking of donations, I got to give a really big shout out to Indigo Outpost. Lauren Strassner, I don't know if she's married B. Will yet, or if they're going to get married. I don't know. Either way, grew up with her. She's been helping donate. Her and her husband are trying to start a business in the same sense as to they want to help people grow. Yeah. Theirs is also physically and like a gym-wise, grow. But they are trying to help people. Their goal is to benefit others, and they've actually benefited us more than they know. I know of 2 donations. I'd have to check again to see if they donated recently. But so far, they've been one of our biggest donators, and they're sitting around 60 to 90 bucks. Shout out to Kegel Inflatables. They actually sponsored the first few episodes. And then I realized that to be sponsored, you kind of have to go through YouTube and the other ad revenue agencies. So if you do want to sponsor an episode, please reach out to me. It'll probably have to be under the table, though. So, like, that's why I say, and whenever people mention to me about sponsoring, I just point them in the direction of donating to a charity. If you want to help us donate to the one that we choose, then you're more than welcome to. But so far, I kind of have to be a little cautious about sponsorship. But if you do want to sponsor an episode, please reach out. I'm getting the business form set up for that. So that way, when I do it, there is no flags on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So once I get the forms legalized, we're good. But until then, if you want to help donate, if you just want to help us be able to share another story, because these subscriptions are not cheap, buying merchandise is not cheap, the gas to go pick up all this stuff is not cheap, my camera is not cheap. But if y'all want to help out, go to Buy Me a Coffee. Let me see if I can get it to pull up on this scene. It's going to go black for just a second until I can get a media source pulled up. And give me 2 seconds, and I'll have it pulled up. I've got it right here. I know I'm saying that. I'm still looking for it. But it's right here. Okay, and then we're going to stretch this all the way across the screen. Boom. So if you're seeing that and you are wondering what that is a way to support us. So you can buy us a coffee. It helps us. You can scan the QR code, or you can go to buymeacoffee/the Testimony Podcast. And that's not directly buying me a coffee. That is just a charitable donation. We actually have a section set up there. We haven't had anybody follow it yet, but I think it's $10 a month, where I will be posting exclusive content, kind of like what we was going to do on the Patreon. But Patreon, it doesn't have the right feel. I mean, I like it. It's supportable, but to me, it feels like it's just like I got my hand out asking for money. There are certain tiers you can do things on, but with the Buy Me a Coffee, I plan on setting up the one tier. I think it's $10 a month. You can help build the legacy of the testimony. But that's what we're going to use to help grow this thing. So the more people we get on there, the bigger this show can get. We got a big conspiracy podcast group coming in, hopefully this summer. I've got to get everything lined out, and again, take this lightly, but we're trying to get Sam Tripoli and a few of the other big conspiracy podcasters down here, and so far a lot of people are willing to come, but I've got to get this stuff lined out. I got to be able to pay for it, and so far all this has been out of my pocket. The laptops, the mics, the computers, the donations, all this has been out of my pocket, except for the few people that has helped donate. If you have helped donate, much love, much respect. If you're wanting to donate more, please just go to Buy Me a Coffee. Support us. $5, $2, $1, 50 cents. Anything helps. Everything that y'all do, whether it's a share, a like, a comment, helps this thing grow and reach somebody else. That's the whole goal. A lot of people get on here and they say it, but if it just helps the one, that's all we're looking for. So far, I've been impacted by every single story that comes on here, but the goal is that if you're just now seeing this, if you just catch a clip and you have no idea what the Testimony Podcast is and you click on it, the goal is to hear something that might change your life.
Yeah.
I've had so many people reach out to me already. Bryce, your story has impacted hundreds of thousands of people, which blows my mind because people have already heard most of it, but people are still reaching out to me. Miss Paula, people are reaching out to me about your story. Coach Orr, I have coaches reaching out to me now trying to get on the podcast just so they can share their story. There's people that are hearing these. Shout out to Theodore. D. Zamav. I don't know how to say it right, but he's over in Thailand. We shared his testimony a few weeks ago. If I have any clips that are reaching Thailand, I know these clips are going to reach somebody in the U.S. But if you're listening, I hope you all stay tuned for next week's episode. We got Danny from the Rabbit Hole. We'll plan on doing a live episode with her eventually. I've got to figure out this live thing first. But right now, my name is Alex. This is Jessica Moneymaker, the absolute best last name on the planet. It is fire. I just imagine y'all playing college ball or something, and that's your last name. You ain't got to play college ball. You could literally I'm going to be a rapper, use my original name.
At work they call me J Money, and I'm like, I just sound really cool, but really I work for an HVAC company, like
Hey,
at
you
the
are
steel
cool.
mill.
Hey, I mean, if you work for an HVAC company, you are
Literally
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Like what you did there. That was good.
But I love you all. Y'all stay tuned. My name is Alex. This is the Testimony Podcast. Thank you for listening to episode 13. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. Shout out, Matt. My boy, you're coming on here eventually. By God, if your sister's got to drag you by your feet.
I will.
Dakota, we'll come to your house and film. Matter of fact, no, I ain't going to say that. I will do that. I will pull up at your house and film with you.
I'll pull up. Me
I
too.
will do it. I've got to get my dude on here. I've got a lot of people asking about him on the conspiracy episodes. These guys, I've talked a lot of these people up. That's why I'm so happy we did the live today, just because I love the way God works. If you're just now listening in and you're catching it late, please go back and listen to the episode and you'll understand what I mean whenever we talk about this. But the scriptures I have played out, the scriptures I have written down and ready to go, I don't mention any of this stuff to the guests.
No.
That's why when it comes time for me to mention it, I pray about every episode before it happens. I pray about every guest before we ask them. And even if they say no, like I've prayed about a person and things have played out, it wasn't it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just because their heart wasn't in the right place.
Right.
You know, it's little things like that I don't have any problems with. But I love the way us doing these lives works out. And it's because you can see God working in the process of us filming. I hope this opens your eyes. It opens my eyes to be able to see this stuff. But before we go, Jessica, if you don't mind, share your platforms.
Really only have Facebook, TikTok. Facebook is going to be Jessica Moneymaker, exactly how it sounds.
Literally Moneymaker. Moneymaker.
My TikTok is Jessie Moneymaker. It'll be Jesi Moneymaker. It'll be a picture of me. My Facebook will be a picture of my husband. You know, follow me because I have like 12,000 followers. So,
she's got a pretty big TikTok following. But yes, matter of fact, she actually posts a lot of inspirational, motivational content for people that are going through the same thing that she's going through. And that's why we bring these people on. They're actively trying to help other people, regardless of what they went through in the past.
Yeah.
Jessica, you are awesome. Ace, I can't see him on camera, but I love you, buddy. I'm glad you came to be support for your mom. You are the kid that a lot of parents wish they had, and I don't mean that.
I just so happen to be lucky to get him.
I'm not saying that just because you're in here. I'm literally saying that because I see a lot from you and your brother and your little brother. When y'all come into church, these people actually look up to y'all. Y'all might not see it, but they're literally looking for y'all.
Literally, there's a little boy. I won't say the mama's name, but she texted me the other day and she's like, "Hey, my kids are wanting to know if your kids are going to be at church at recovery tonight." See? And I was like, "I actually only have one. The rest of them he was at work and Zachary was at his dad's." And I was like, "Actually, my oldest is here." And she was like, "Perfect. That's who we needed. That's who we needed to see." Now, mind you, this boy's like 5, 6. He's a little kid.
One of the youngins.
Yeah, he's really little, but he thinks Aiden and Ace are the coolest things ever, which is hilarious.
They're making an impact
to me.
They're making an impact.
He thinks that they're pretty cool. That's
Ace,
pretty
you
sweet.
might be quiet, buddy, but I promise you're making an impact, my dude.
He knows.
But I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I think this is the biggest audience we've had on YouTube. I've also been streaming on Rumble, so I apologize. Rumble, y'all get the episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. That'll be uploaded tomorrow or Sunday. Thank you all for tuning in. I love every single one of you. Stay blessed. Stay cheesy. This book right here is going to change.
Stay cheesy.
This book will change, but if you're looking for a book that could change your life, I actually won this at church. Before I won this, I even got finished telling my wife I never win anything, and then I won this book, and this book has literally been a guideline for my life in a sense, because it makes you think, makes you wonder, should I take that step and follow my dreams? And man, do it. Might change your life. But in the upcoming weeks, we're going to have Liminal Trees. Shout out Trebles Garcia again. Please go get that book if you're just curious about what I mean when I say conspiracy podcasters. Not everything has to be a theory. A lot of these theories are fact, but because they have to put conspiracy in front of it to make sure that it doesn't sound like a fact, doesn't mean it's not a fact. Check out Liminal Trees. Check out Trebles Garcia. Check out the Trebles Show. Much love to all of y'all. Shout out Arkansas and Bryce. He's opening the gym. That's what, tomorrow, Fayetteville, Arkansas. He's opening his first gym. I say first because I feel like there's going to be many more, but he's opened his first gym. Bryce Mitchell is. Y'all go check him out. Shout out Hanky P with Soldiers of Christ Arise. Shout out Drew with Speaking Code. I love you all. Oh, and a big shout out to Ty King. I don't shout him out enough, but he has been the start of me wanting to step into the recovery side of things. I didn't think it was a possibility because YouTube bans, not bans, but it shadow bans. It keeps it from being promoted. It's not going to promote recovery. It'll promote the drug addiction all day, but it won't promote how to get help. And he's gave me the courage to want to step out of that and just go ahead and take the risk.
Ty's such a cool dude.
Dude, shout out Ty King. Much love, brother. I got I wear your bracelet every single day.
I took mine off like literally 2 days ago.
My alien is wearing your sombrero. I don't even know where all this stuff came from, but I've got a lot of your stuff placed around. Like I even got your pamphlet up here. Much love, brother Ty. You're awesome, man. I'll try to clip this and post this on your Instagram too. But I love you all. Y'all stay cheesy, stay blessed. My name's Alex, and keep tuning in to Testimony.